All right, there we go. Now we're live on both. Okay, cool. All right, so we'll start with our daily reminding God of what He said, as we normally do. So, yeah, the 11th, July 11th. Let me turn my speaker off. One second. All right, I just want to make sure everybody can hear me. All right, so July 11th. Let's see. We're only up to July 10th. Oh, yeah. That's the end of our challenge. Yesterday was the end of our challenge, I guess. Let's see if I can pull up another one now, just to do it, because we want to give gratitude. You know what? Since that's the end of our challenge, I'm just gonna go with this realization that I had, last night, and that was that it was about God's love and how He loved me so much that He didn't just leave me in my addiction or on the streets, and that just like I got really emotional about that last night because um, what a loving God that we have, and just imagine all it took to get me to the point of where I'm at right now. You know, that He loved me so much to get me where I'm at, all the healing and stuff like that, and um, to allow me to start having my children back um, in my life, and to work on them as well. You know, um, to where they're not angry at me. Um, I don't think they hold any sort of resentment towards me. They've always been just super supportive and loving, and I want to thank God for not leaving me in my mess. Um, I was journaling that, just because it was just like I'm always thinking of all these other things, and I just got to get back to. I think it's good to always remember, you know, like it speaks about in Numbers that where God pulled us out of, He saved us from. No matter what, we can always go back to that. So He didn't leave me in my sin. He didn't leave me in my addiction. He didn't leave me in my depression, my anxiety, my PTSD. He didn't leave me in a toxic relationship. He pulled me out of all these things, you know, um, and saved me from so many things. Like I could have been so much more legal trouble than what I was, and He saved me from that. And I just want to give gratitude to Him for that. Um, so yeah, I guess that's really the end of our challenge. That was a 30-day challenge, reminding God of what He said. So that's awesome. Um, so I want to speak about Jonah, angels, mugshot mugs, and when God sent you to Nineveh. So I have a message that's been burning in my spirit. It's a mix of dreams, discernment, direction, and a mission that's waking up cities. God's been showing me things through scripture, dreams, spiritual warfare, and through what's happening in the streets of Albuquerque, New Mexico. So the Jonah season. The book of Jonah isn't just about a whale, it's about the assignment. Jonah was called to speak to Nineveh, a broken, violent city. He ran, resisted, and avoided the call. But God didn't give up on him, and Jonah finally obeyed His words, and that sparked repentance. Even the king stepped down. God reconsidered the judgment He had planned. That could be us today too. I think that's what saved me from a lot of more things that I could have been into. Um, so His plan, His judgment, He had planned, and that's what Mugshot Mugs is sort of about too. We don't shout judgment; we declare hope. We walk in modern Ninevehs like addiction, homelessness, incarceration, and say there's still time, there's still mercy. God sees you. And when I read Jonah 3, I think of Albuquerque. I think of the street corners, the exhausted EMTs, the worn down officers. I pray for them. I pray for those who sleep under bridges. I pray for the ones answering the emergency calls. I ask God to give them discernment, compassion, and divine wisdom. Because Mugshot Mugs, so I have my own mugs too. And I see them, it sparks me to pray for them too. And the calls that they have to take and decisions they have to make. They have lives too and families to go home to too. And also a platform and power and authority to make a difference in people's lives. Um, so, because the Mugshot Mugs is my way of stepping into Nineveh and saying God hasn't given up on you, and neither have we. Um, so, I'm going to get into the dream battles I no longer belong to. Okay, so I had a dream recently. I was like in a trailer park area. It was a heavily toxic space. My ex was there. This is super personal too, and I think this is really about sin and the demons that I was fighting. Basically, I've been in abusive relationships, and I battled with my sins, and it was basically just trying to pull me back into the chaos. And um, and I was really wrestling with this in my dream. I was being attacked in my dream. It's a spiritual warfare dream, obviously, where I'm just battling with these things. And so I felt like I felt the attack and stuff like that, but I wasn't necessarily afraid. I feel like half the battle was mine, half the battle I was being taken care of. Um, so I knew I wasn't going to be defeated, and eventually I got away. Um, there was children or a child there too that, kind of got in the way. That was just kind of just like, this was, uh, I don't know what that necessarily symbolized. It felt like, just another piece of something that was going on, or this was not going to happen because there's children involved. Um, but I knew I wasn't going to be defeated, and eventually I got away. Later, I realized it wasn't just a dream. This was spiritual warfare. The child was innocent. That was divine interruption. It wasn't just protection. Um, it wasn't just protecting me from him. It was protecting me from becoming like him, from retaliating, um, from re-entering battles I've already been delivered from, because some battles I no longer belong to. So when we get out of these things, like there's still people that are on the streets. This person I'm talking to about is on the streets. Okay, um, so they're still on the streets, and so are a lot of people that I care about that I've been with on the streets. It's such a weird, just a weird thing, to be praying for these people that have, negatively affected you. But that's how we're called to intervene for them, without getting involved, you know, and bringing yourself down. So all I can do is pray for those people and pray God, delivers them from their sin and what they're into and what they're doing. Um, so this is super personal, me sharing this, but I feel like if I'm sharing this, then it'll help other people too, and I do believe people can change. I've seen it, Um, I've changed, so I believe that they can too, I believe that God can do anything, so I just pray for those people without getting involved in it. And I would never put myself back in that situation ever again. I would never interact with people like that again unless I've seen from their actions that they have changed and turned themselves, surrendered themselves to God. Um, that's part of the I no longer belong to. I have boundaries now that um, I'm proud to have, and I'm very strict about and adamant about. Um, so part of that's keeping my peace and not letting others disturb it. If others make themselves susceptible to wrongdoings and to chaos, drama, making themselves open to the enemy to be used, I will not have any part of that. I won't. I won't interact with them. Um, and I understand now where that comes from with my, with my family or loved ones and stuff like that too. When somebody else is in addiction, but that's how I stand. Even if it's just, even if they're not an addict or anything like that, I just won't be a part of it. Those are my boundaries, and I'm sticking to them. And that's part of something that God helped me with and learning and part of my healing. And it's something. So God pulled me out of this. I'm not bringing myself back to it. I've had people invest in me, their time. I've had, God, and that's not something I'm going back on. That's why I would never go back to my addiction, and I won't go back with toxic people. And I'm very careful about who I have in my circle. I think it's hard to see these people speaking out and all this domestic violence and stuff like that. That you're seeing like on TikTok and stuff like that. Um, and it's really cool that people are, you know, speaking up about it. It's hard to see coming from it. But I think it's good that we have an awareness of it. It's in the right way. It's not something that we're glorifying or speaking about in the wrong way. Um, you know, I understand it. I came from it and I got out of it. And so, anyways, I don't know where I'm going with this. It's just a topic that's really out there, and I've been noticing too. Maybe that's part of what God's healing in me too. So, discernment and divine restraint. So, God's been clear with me lately. Don't take revenge, even when I've been lied to, manipulated, exhausted. The battle isn't mine; it's God's. And when I let go of revenge, I make room for the redemption. Mugshot Mugs is not built on bitterness; it's built on breakthrough. We fight for our perspective, not for retaliation. We honor first responders not because we fought the pain, but because we remember the mercy. Um, this fits in there too because I've had a bad experiences with first responders, police interactions, um, and that's part of what's so deceived into wanting to build compassion in these first responders and honoring them and showing them the authority that they have and how to use it in a way um, that can help somebody and see the change. Because I do understand how, um, their idea of humanity can get corrupted because of things that they see. But it's to, and I also understand the things that they're exposed to on a daily can kind of change their mind about humanity too, and discourage them a lot too. Not give them a right to abuse their authority or other people, but I can understand how it can get discouraging. And that's something I want to build up in them, to allow them to see people like me, can change and they can be a part of that change. And I want to honor them in that and all that they do too. Um, so, sorry, I just like to take a moment and after I speak to just reflect and see if there's anything else I need to say on that. Um, just that comes to me, just paying attention to spiritual, I guess. Let's see. So yeah, while we're on the topic of that, so yeah, I had that like spiritual warfare dream, and so you wake up like just kind of sort of like exhausted and kind of such a negative tone. And that's kind of the enemy gets at you too. And I noticed that a lot when I was in that recovery phase. I always happened to have like these roommates that were just, you know what I mean? Just they snored, or it seemed like they were fake snoring, or just slamming things around, or just intentionally just being a disturbance or negative. Um, and I know the enemy will use people like that, and when you're emotionally exhausted like that, spiritually exhausted or physically exhausted, it's an easy way for the enemy to get to your emotions. And I noticed that happened a lot while I was there. So it's a lot of self-control and discipline to not react how you know you would typically think you would react. And not that it would have been wrongfully so, but it would have not really solved anything. It would have been unchristlike. Um, I was right to be angry about the things that were going on, especially when I could tell when it was intentional. But I guess it taught me a lot of self-discipline, and I can hold my head high knowing that I took the right route. Um, and so when I think back about it, to not get bitter about it, it is something I know that God will take care of. I know it's something that He will make right. So you know what I mean. Uh, so it's not something I just carry bitterness and unforgiveness about, or I'm not carrying this with me also to, um, just negatively affect me or what's going on with me. Anyways, so yeah, so I'm in this wait period, so it's easy for me to get a little discouraged and doubtful, about how things are going. 'Cause it's kind of from like it's moving slowly, but I also I got this really good email response back from somebody I reached, well, to a company that I reached out to tell my story to, um, and to possibly collaborate with. So this is one of two um, that reached back out to me, and it's kind of like um, it's really good potential for Mugshot Mugs. And so that just showed me too to just keep hanging on there and to be spiritually aware of what's going on around me, so it doesn't affect Mugshot Mugs and my progress and recovery too. All right, so Angels in the Fire. I've also been watching, like I was playing earlier, the Chosen One videos and stuff like that, and listening to messages that it gives me confirmation. Gave me confirmation today about my dream last night, so it helped me understand what it was about. Um, so it's opening my eyes to angelic protection. I've been reminding about how angels show up. They show up when we're tried, vulnerable, worn down from warfare. They show up when familiar spirits use people to provoke us, slam doors, fake snoring, yell to disturb our peace, acting childlike, just unnecessary drama and negativity um, that I lived at during my time in that recovery phase. And while I won't name names or spread negativity, I will name the pattern. It was spiritual warfare, and God blocked it. Um, whether through the child in my dream, white feathers, scents I couldn't explain, He showed me. Oh, and birds too. That's why I always look at the windows and stuff like that in the clouds. That reminds me. That's like symbolic to me about God. He showed me that I'm protected, that I'm chosen, and I'm not fighting alone. And I really feel like that. I can tell that I'm not fighting this alone. That He's right there with me, and that makes me realize that my obedience and me seeking Him is every bit worth it. Just have that relationship with Him. It totally changed my life, and I enjoy all aspects of it. Just Him reassuring me, Him communicating with me, Him guiding me, Him protecting me, and that's. it's important that we show gratitude to him and to his angels. Um, I believe, and the people that he sends in our lives to help us too, even the negative ones, because there's a purpose for it too. Usually, if it's a thorn in your side, and he's not removing it, it's there to teach you something and help you grow in something. Um, but acknowledge what it is, and I'm glad that I'm away from that because those are help me realize too that's not a group of people that I choose to be around. I wouldn't choose to be around people that are um, choosing to be ungodly in the Christian life that say that they are. Um, I wouldn't choose to be around people that are abusive or bullies or um, the, anybody that's going to disturb my peace that I try to protect. You know, I can help people too, but understand that it's got to be people that want the help too. I understand that they were kind of dangle like leadership in front of me or make me seem like that's something I wanted, but with a group of people that didn't want a leader, and that was to discourage me. It didn't work because I realized what it was right away. Um, and I'm just saying these things so you can relate. You know, if you're going through these things, understand that it is what it is. You're not crazy. So if you're feeling full of this message, if you know that you're in the middle of warfare or a season where God is calling you to walk away from old fights, if you're tired but still believing, know this that you're not alone. Angels are guarding you, mercy is going before you, and your calling is too big to stay in that trailer park. So let Mugshot Mugs be your reminder. Let Jonah's journey be your encouragement. Let the child in that dream be your confirmation. Let battles you no longer belong to. But so, what was I saying? Let the child in your dream be the confirmation. Some battles you no longer belong to, but the mission um, that's still unfolding. So hopefully that was confirmation for some of you that needed to hear it. I know it helps me to speak about it, and I'm just I feel like I'm just being guided to share my story and what's going on, along with the nonprofit Mugshot Mugs and how God's building it up. And if you're going through the same thing, to not be discouraged and to know that you're not alone. Um, and as far as Mugshot Mugs goes, uh, these two potential partnerships um, are just, I don't know, I'm just really excited about it. And it feels really good to be able to be open about my story and share it in a place where it's going to do something productive and help other people. And I'm just super grateful that God gave me something like this because um, I don't know, I just don't have words for it. But I'm super excited about where this is going to go with Mugshot Mugs, and I'm excited to share with you all how it goes, and for you to witness too how God works in our lives, and how He redeems us, to show you where I'm at right now, and then in the future show you where God has taken it, and through obedience and faith in Him and what it can do in your life too, and to let you also know that somebody out there like me is praying for you, and thinking about you all the time, and I'm hoping to spread this message of hope with you. If you could have seen me on the streets, I was out there in my sin doing drugs. I was a severe alcoholic. I got 2 DWI accidents, and God saved me from all that. Um, it sucks it took something so dramatic, but it saved me, you know. And unfortunately, I got myself back into it again, which landed me homeless in the street. But if it wasn't for that, then I wouldn't have fully recovered like I have today. I wouldn't have met the people that I met. I wouldn't have learned the things that I've learned. I wouldn't have grown in God the way I am right now. Um, and that should be a testament to you that you can do it too. And all you have to do is call out to God. And I hope this message goes far and wide to people who need to hear it. Um, but I'm going to end it there, guys. I hope you all have a blessed day. I look forward to sharing more things with you guys about how these potential partnerships go. And pray for me, and I'll pray for you. And I hope you'll have a good day. Bye.